there are three allegations which have been made by the petitioner as relates to the accuracy and the accountability of the results transmitted by the second and the third respondent. The first allegation relates to the fact that there are 482,202 people who walked into the polling station and voted for other county seats, who did not vote for other county seats but voted for the president. We say this allegation is inaccurate. We refer the court to the affidavit of Immaculate Kasait at paragraph 208, and we refer the court to the annexure EC 12. We state that if the court directed itself to the variance of the gubernatorial, the senatorial and the women rep as it relates to the presidential, you will find that the variance can be accounted for, number one, by the diaspora voters who are voting for the presidential election. Number two, by the prisoners who are only voting for the presidential election. Number three, by the stray ballots, which can only be accounted for by sorting if all the ballot boxes are brought and sorting is done. And number five, by the rejected votes. I will much obliged, my lord. My lord, there is an allegation which has been made by the learned senior for the petitioner that 482,202 persons walked through the polling stations on the 8th of August and voted for presidential candidates and did not cast their votes for the governors, for the women rep, and for the senators. This allegation is inaccurate for the following reasons. Number one, if you look at the affidavit of Immaculate Kasait at paragraph 208, we have annexed a variance analysis of the vote for the various seats. And a variance analysis for the votes for the various seats will prove the following. The variance or the difference between the persons who cast votes for the governor's seat in the whole of the country and the presidential seat is 0.271% or 41,104 votes. The variance for the persons who cast votes for the senatorial seats as compared to the presidential is 34,243,000 or 0.226%. The variance of the persons who cast their vote for the presidential as compared to the women rep is 74,416 or 0.419% of the vote. We submit that the variance is accounted for by the following. Number one, the diaspora voters were only voting for the presidential candidate. Number two, the prisoners were only voting for the presidential candidate. The variances can be accounted for by the following. By the diaspora voters who are only allowed to vote for the presidential candidates, by the prisoners who are only casting votes for the presidential candidate, by the rejected votes, and by the strayed ballots, which could be confirmed by sorting. And my lord, in our submissions we have indicated that this was so accurate that it actually falls within the internationally recognized threshold. The internationally recognized threshold is plus or minus 5%. We are at less than 0.27% when you combine all of them. My lord, our submission is that there is no one, there are no 482,000 or 800,000 as has been sensationally claimed who voted for the presidential candidate and did not vote for the other seats. It can be accounted for, it is accurate, and to the submissions of the learned senior that in our voting system there is no way that the presidential, someone will vote more for the presidential than the other seat. That is not accurate. You have prisoners and you have diaspora voters who vote for certain candidates. That is the first allegation we wanted to answer. The second one, an allegation has been made that there was an inbuilt variance of 11% from the time of transmission of results. We refer this court to paragraph 9 of Immaculate Kasait's affidavit. We have done a tabulation of a 30-minute period and a 60-minute period. And if you did that, my lords, you will come to the analysis that the differential variance ranges from 9% to 25%. To a low of 9%, the number is actually 9.02% to as high as 25% between the candidates as the results were coming in. We say that that allegation is unfounded. Our client, the first respondent, has no a candidate favorite. He did his duty as per Article 6 of the Constitution, and if a tally is done of all the 40,883 votes, you will not come to any other conclusion except the conclusion that the first and the second respondent came to. My lord, a third allegation was made in Dr. Nyangasi's affidavit that results started streaming at 5:07 p.m. We find this allegation to be startling. The first respondent is being accused of being very efficient. And we also find it startling because the petitioners know for a fact that there were polling stations with 1 voters, like Lowangina Primary School in Tigania East. There were polling stations with 3 voters, like Algana in North Hor and in Matuga constituency. The same has been captured in paragraph 8 of Immaculate Kasait's affidavit. And if you looked at the various polling stations which have less than 10 voters, it is expected that the results will come in immediately, the close of the polling. The same allegation is untrue, and we submit that these were the results which started streaming in, which had less than 10 polling stations, which had less than 10 voters. My lord, unless you have a question for me, I had only 5 minutes, which I have taken from my senior Kamau Karori.